lot of stuff has happened too. But let's get into some movie news because a good amount of things have dropped this week. You wrote here the Hush villain. I'm sorry, the villain for Batman 2 might be Hush.
Yeah, I read a couple, not even just one article, I read a couple of articles saying that it might be very, in fact, Hush. And I was saying to you, too, I was like, it would be really cool to see Hush live action for the first time. We've never seen Hush live action.
It would be smart because he's not a character that a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And it would be cool to utilize him, too, because he's more of like a newer type villain that came, I think, in the early 2000s, too. People wouldn't be able to guess it, and they've been kind of hinting it. They hinted a few Easter eggs in the Batman movie about him, so that would make sense if, you know, he's actually going to be somebody.
Yeah, but I would love to see either Mr. Freeze. I would love to see like a Matt Reeves take on what that character would look like
Like
live
an ice
action
pick killer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like some type of lunatic killer. I mean, like, think about it. He made the Riddler look so like it was like a hybrid between comic book accurate and like what would Christopher Nolan had like in his universe. It was like a hybrid between both. So I really want to see like how you would probably like an ice pick killer or something. It would be like something like that. Like I don't really imagine with a freeze gun. Like that's not a thing.
No, I could see him probably killing people and like putting them in ice and shit.
Oh, like like an ice cream truck killer or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, if they really really want to go realistic with it. And I heard Clayface before too. Clayface would be hard to do realistic wise too. I mean, you would just need somebody horribly disfigured who can move their face around. And
What was
people.
Clayface's story? You know from the comics?
I do. So he was an actor, and he got into a horrible car accident that disfigured him, and then he had this stuff. I think it was called like Renew Youth.
Oh.
And it was putty that you could put on your face and change the way that you look. So he made himself look normal again.
Oh.
And then he used too much of it and then turned into a monster.
Wow.
Yeah, that's in the animated series.
Wow. You know, I remember Clayface.
Great villain.
Was it Clayface or Clayman? Clayface.
Clayface.
Yeah. I remember that seeing. It was very like I feel like it was briefly gone over. I feel like it would be a character if they really focused heavily on it, live action. It would be really really cool. I wouldn't mind it.
I would like it. I would like to see that too. That's the Batman news and everything. And the Batman's going to be shooting fairly soon, from what I heard.
You said. I think you said what, the new year coming in. Right?
Might be. It might. Yeah, I think at first I heard November, but I think it's probably going to get pushed to the new year. Most likely.
Have you seen pictures recently of Robert Pattinson by chance? I have not seen any photos of this man.
He hides well.
So I'm kind of curious to see like his body composition would really give us a spoiler on where this Batman in Part 2 will be. Like they haven't really gone over anything. I know Batman, the original, the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, it was Batman in year 2 of his being a Batman, right? So it would be really cool if he got like enormous for this role. That would indicate that this is a couple years
That'd be cool.
into his Batman vigilante stuff, you know, trying to figure out some things and quirks. And do you think, I wanted to ask you this too, do you think that there's going to be a Robin? And if so, who would that Robin be played by?
I don't know who it would be played by, but I hope they go the route of like having the Dick Grayson.
Okay.
And then growing off of that and everything. But the only way that Robin would work is like you can't have somebody who's like, because I was like rewatching Batman Forever. You can't have someone who looks 25 be Robin. Because people always wanted to move away from it's like, oh, it's weird that he has like a kid sidekick and everything. The whole point of Robin is that he sees himself in him. When Robin loses his parents and everything and he kind of wants to take him under his wing, it would make sense for him to be between, as fucked up as it says, fighting crime and everything, between like 9 and 13 years old.
Right. You know what? That's a really good point to have on it too, because I know there's so many other Robins that we've never seen really live action before.
No.
Like Teen Titans, like the cartoon, like we've seen them animated, like Tim Drake. There's Dick Grayson, which is the one we've seen live action.
See if you can name all of them.
Jason Todd, which is the Crowbar. That's also been
a great one.
He's an awesome one because it actually leaks into the Red Hood story. Yeah. Which wait, no, Red Hood was Jason Todd. That was not Dick Grayson, correct?
Correct.
Because I'm always getting the symbol, the red symbol.
Because he had a red suit at one point.
I thought of Dick Grayson's symbol.
Well, Dick Grayson's true and blue now. Always true and blue.
But listen, again, I'm excited to see. Again, this brings me into my topic too of James Gunn. Like we're gonna see we're gonna have a Bat family in the DCU. I can't wait for that. And it's gonna be such a great thing, because again, with the whole 10-year plan, it's not gonna come probably right away. I don't even think they probably casted for it yet. You know,
A Batman? No,
No.
because he's always talking about it too. He's just like, we're miles away from casting a Batman.
Yeah,
So I was like, well, okay, but
You know
you
what?
want to release a movie like
I know.
2026, so
Yeah.
most likely they're
It's
eyeing
probably
somebody.
and then they're probably going to introduce just Batman first, and then throughout the movies and the times,
Yeah.
they'll have time to pace it out for
I keep seeing your boy as a fan cast from Supernatural.
I'm
don't see it.
50-50
I don't see
on
it.
him. Listen, I love Jensen Ackles. He's too familiar with other projects. That's like having
He doesn't look like Bruce Wayne though.
no, I can't imagine him as a
Handsome
Bruce
guy,
Wayne.
great actor and everything, but he doesn't look like Bruce Wayne.
No,
Not slight.
unless
no.
he got really, really like fit into it. But I still have a hard time seeing him as Bruce Wayne because again, Batman, you have to play both characters. It's not just the Batman.
Yep.
It's not just the voice. It's both Bruce Wayne and Batman. You know, we've talked about it before where some people, you know, this would make a really, really good Bruce Wayne, but Batman, not so much. He doesn't have that sense of style to him, or vice versa.
Yeah.
There's only been a select few we've come across. Again, Ben Affleck, great as both.
It's a good
I
point.
really think he was a great Bruce Wayne.
He was robbed of a movie.
He really was.
It sucks. I wish
Then
he had a
again,
movie.
mental health comes first, and everyone who knows the story of Ben Affleck and
Oh my god!
and
If
Batman,
you look up pictures of the way he looked in like 2017 and like 2018,
it's screaming for help. He's screaming for help physically.
Yeah, he gained like at least 70 pounds, all gray hair and everything. He looks amazing now and everything, but he was going through such hard times
and
and
then
shit.
he lost all of it when he got healthy and he was out of the contract finally, of making a movie. But basically, he was. I heard what was it like? His diet went from like. What was it like? Fruits and nuts. Like it was a seed fruit diet.
Yeah, he
or
basically
something like
just he didn't really eat. It was just like a black coffee and like
Yep.
yeah, fruit diet for a while. Which of course you're gonna lose weight.
Of course. Of
But
course.
he did that. You could really see it in like the Justice League reshoots and Zack Snyder at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ, does he look like?
Yeah, well, you know, it's crazy. If you watch Zack Snyder's version of Justice League, that was all shot in 2015 for a 2016 for a 2017 release.
They all look so young.
They
like,
look
I look at like
all
Ezra
so
Miller.
young.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
They look very young.
And then after the whole Zack Snyder drama happened, he got taken off the project. They reshot the entire movie. I want to say what, like maybe like a year later, and they utilized all the footage that they reshot with Joss Whedon. So obviously a year is a long time. Ben was going through his, you know,
oh,
manic-
dude, he looks fucking
and
rough.
all the footage you saw in the theatrical release back in 2017 was when Ben was, you know, going through the rehab and his alcoholism and stuff like that. But if you watch Zack Snyder's, which was filmed a year prior to all that reshoots, he looked so much healthier and thinner, and he looked
great,
he looked better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
really crazy, man. But I'm happy to know that we're going to have a Bat family. I'm so looking forward to that. I feel like it's going to be it's in good hands.
Do you know what we can cover actually too? Because this kind of bleeds into it when I cover this. New York ComicCon, a lot of big names and a lot of faces were there
Yeah.
this weekend. I saw it was Chris Evans was there.
Wow, really?
Chris Evans, and it was also Ian McGregor. 'Cause you saw that picture. Yeah,
I did see that picture.
That's
A friend
why.
of ours on Instagram posted a picture with Ian McGregor, and I was like, "Oh wow!" I was like, "That's crazy." How like then I looked into it, and he was at Comic-Con. So it's really cool how like there's a couple big names that were there. Any news? Did any news drop?
Well, nothing that I know of dropped recently. We really should have did some looking on, but the one thing that really stood out to me too, because Charlie Cox was there, the man who plays Daredevil.
Really?
This goes into it. All the writers on Daredevil Born Again were fired, and the entire show is going to be restarted with brand new ones. And Disney hired a brand new creative team. They're going to be having a big overhaul for all Disney Plus shows.
I don't know how I feel about that. How bad was Daredevil Born Again originally?
So they've been shooting for a year, and they just decided to scrap everything.
How much money that is?
Fucking.
Wait, I'm sorry. They were
ridiculous.
shooting this already?
Yeah, man. Remember I sent you the set pictures? He was all around and everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
Oh.
they shot all around New York and everything. When I worked in New York, which was over a year ago, they were shooting in like
I don't know why
Times
I
Square.
affiliated that with She-Hulk stuff because he wasn't She-Hulk. I got confused. I thought that they weren't going to start filming until the new year.
No,
and we were going to get a later because it was going to originally be 18 episodes. It was going to be a long, probably one of the longest Disney Plus Marvel things that we're going to have going on. But that's insane to me. How do you feel about that? I mean, how do you feel about the trajectory of where it's going to go now?
I mean, there's a clear problem with the shows, as we've seen in recent times and everything. All these shows that have been coming out, they're a little lackluster. They don't look the best too. So I think overhauling it is good. And for some reason too, I think they've realized with like Secret Invasion, so overpriced for very minimal that we're getting. You know, because Secret Invasion was concept cool in theory, and just watching it, you're just like, wow, this is
lackluster. It's such a lackluster.
But Miss Marvel, like a bunch of things like that, they just kind of all fell flat and stuff. But people are loving Loki.
Loki is something that I feel like, because it started off the whole Marvel, like again, Loki season 1 started directly. I think it was after WandaVision. Was it my understanding, or was it before WandaVision?
It was after WandaVision.
Yes, WandaVision was January
2021.
2022. January
2020. Wasn't it 2020? Was it during COVID? Or was it 2021? I feel like COVID was big during this. Want me to fact check?
Fact check that right now.
Fact check it. I'm curious.
I'm like 99.8% sure.
You're talking about WandaVision.
WandaVision. It came out in 2022.
I can't agree with you on
yes.
2021.
2021.
2021.
Okay, so it wasn't 2020 then. Okay, great. Sorry.
It came out. Look, one shy off your birthday. January 15th, 2021.
Yep, the first 3 episodes came out.
You are correct.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
See, it's all coming back to me now. WandaVision was great. But then Loki season 1 came out, and WandaVision, again, we're never going to have another WandaVision. They've come clean. They've officially announced that Wanda will be in later movies and maybe
which I appreciate.
Cameos, which I appreciate too.
Don't ruin it.
Don't overkill something.
Yeah.
Right? Unless it can feed to the story. But as you guys know, Wanda, her story continued in Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange. So there was really no need to do a second season of her because again, like it was kind of like you really can't make a second season off of off of her story. Well, I mean, like it was Delusion, and then it came to an end toward the end of the series, and she got out of the Delusion. She lost Vision again.
What about that show that they were going to make, Vision Quest?
I overheard that's still going on.
I haven't heard anything. Apparently that dropped when that show aired, like after everything happened with like WandaVision. They're like, all right, now we're going to go into Vision Quest.
Right, because
it's been a long time.
End of the final episode of WandaVision, the White Vision that was made by the government to go inside and like take on Wanda and a vision that she made, he just flies off into that. You don't see anything, that you don't hear anybody talk about him ever again.
Nope.
He just flies off. So again, I heard it was going to be about him.
Made sense.
And Paul Bettany. Sorry.
Yes.
Paul Bettany was going to reprise the role as Vision, but as the White Vision. So it should be really interesting to see. You know what's so funny about that? It reminded me of a funny thing. When they were doing press for WandaVision before it came out, toward the middle, I think it was airing, when the first 3 episodes dropped, Paul Bettany was on a show, and he goes, I think it was a talk show, and he goes, let's just say that someone very, very special cameos in this season that I had the pleasure of working with, and I actually get to fight him later on. And everyone was like, oh my God, it's going to be like a form of like Iron Man coming back. Everyone thought it was an actual celebrity.
Who did they think himself. It was? Yeah, it was himself.
It was himself. He made a joke.
I remember these rumors.
He played both characters.
Somebody went so far off of like the reservation, and they were just like, oh yeah, he's clearly going to fucking like fight Magneto because Quicksilver was in it and everything. And I was just like, that's a really big stretch.
But okay.
That's cool.
If that's what you want to believe. Then again, like I don't feel like like Mephisto, he was like rumored to be like the main villain of Doctor Strange. I think he probably was in one of the earlier drafts.
Apparently he's casted. And you know who it is.
Who is it?
Fucking Borat.
Really?
People think that
I didn't hear about that.
So Sacha Baron Cohen, the guy who plays Borat, he was cast as a mysterious character in Ironheart. Now, people think it's Mephisto.
I completely forgot about Ironheart.
We all did. And watch it not be
him.
It usually goes that way.
I also heard Ironheart was also going to be given 19 episodes or 18 episodes. I heard.
Too much.
I don't know what kind of story you're trying to... That's a lot of... First off, that's like maybe 8 months to a year of filming. Can we just talk about that real quick? To do 20 20 episodes, because I know this was like CW's schedule, but I remember when the Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki came out and they were talking about their time filming Supernatural. That show was 20 to 24 episodes a season. They said they were away from their families for 8 months out of the year. Yeah. Like, that's a long time
with
for
like
15 years.
16-hour days.
So I'm thinking to myself, wow, like when I hear 18 episodes for Daredevil, you got 18 episodes for Ironheart. That's a lot of time. So like, is that even starting? Is that started yet?
Apparently, no. I saw set pictures. Apparently, they were doing Ironheart.
Wow.
But this was a long time ago. And you know what's really funny? All this stuff happened like pre-writer's strike. So it's been like months on end.
Right.
There's a really pause. Heard anything.
There's a pause.
Yeah.
So if it did start, did it get picked back up? Are they doing it now? What are they doing? And speaking of Disney, too, you sent me this too this week.
I did.
About they got a lot of shit for using AI actors.
Did you see the fucking video? It's disgusting.
It was terrifying.
It was really bad. They look like mannequins.
They look like animatronics. They look like really, really.
But like, what's the thought process around that? Like, you don't want to hire background extras for 2 people. It was only 2 people.
Right.
It was 2 people, and they were AIs moving back and forth, or were they just testing it out? Because it's scary as shit.
Terrifying. And first off, too, it was one individual spot they tested. It wasn't like it was a couple of AI.
No.
It was like that one woman where you just saw. It looked so scary.
It was weird.
And again, they're trying to tweak this process to make it cheaper, not to use extras. So I want to actually get into this too, because I don't think this ever aired when we wrapped. This was a part of our I think of our 3rd episode, our Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Least rated views, by the way.
So we did a for episode 3. I know it was episode 3.
Okay.
We did a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 spoiler review. You guys can go back and listen to it. It's on all streaming and all that and more. But there was a second half to that episode that never came to light. I don't know I think it was just because of like the audio or like the timing that came along with it. I found it, but we also talked about with you about you have a hand in the acting world. So
I haven't got my checks yet, if that's what you're insinuating. If that's what you're trying to say.
But you've done a lot of things for acting, which is pretty
Get them out.
So talk about that. I want to hear about that again.
Do you?
Yeah.
Genuinely?
I genuinely want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used Backstage for a little bit too. Well, it was back when I was like I started maybe like when I was like 18 or like 19 or something. And Backstage is basically just like a Tinder for acting. Like, you just make a profile, you put your resume on there, you do skills, yada yada, and everything, and then you could apply for certain jobs around the area too. So I was just like based out of New York basically, and I was an extra in a few like NYU films, a few short films, a couple like TV pilots and everything that
Nice.
Basically just sit on a shelf forever.
Right.
Things like that. Like you'll shoot something and it goes back to the stuff that we talked about before, where someone says like, "Oh, I shot that. I totally forgot about it."
Yeah, because
like,
you literally there's so many projects out there, and you can even speak from like just from personal experience now too, which is awesome. But like, there's so many projects that don't even get like come to light ever.
Yeah, I was on a TV pilot. It was called The Patch.
Wow.
And the concept of it was actually very interesting. I shot it in a Cedar Grove High School, which is right by Montclair. And I played like a jock, and there was a bunch of, I didn't have a speaking role, but like I was mainly just an extra, and I was a part of like the gang that would like make fun of everybody, and it was a very meta show where like the lead jock who had all the lines and everything like that had like a receding hairline and a beard, like it was everybody was in their 30s but they were in high school.
Oh, so they emphasized that.
It was funny. Like, he would go up to like somebody and bully him and everything. He was like, "I better not see you at the dance Friday, because I really want to fucking go with you." Actually, like it's like shit like that. Like, it was funny.
That's creative.
It was really cool.
That's really cool, because the take on that is basically what they're saying is that there's so many movies and so many shows where it's like, oh yeah, these people are supposed to be 17 years old, but like they look like they're pushing 30.
Yeah.
So they made them look like what they actually are while playing that role. That's pretty neat.
The best thing about the acting experience and everything, and a lot of people think like when you go on set and everything, everyone's doing something, everyone's moving around, everyone's saying like, "Oh, we got to set up this, we got to set up this." That stuff's going on, but there's so much downtime. Yeah. So you really get to know the people that you're with. Like, I worked with, oh my God, like 8 people that I'm kind of still in contact with now. Like, they're on my Instagram and everything. Great. And then I met people in like New York once and everything that we like our chemistry together was just so good, and we were just so good off the bat and everything. And a lot of it's just waiting around for like hours on end, not doing anything too. So you get to know people a lot, their stories and everything too. So the networking aspect of it is really, really cool.
Yeah, you never know too, because again, you make connections like that, and then let's just say like a year from now, someone that you're close with that's still doing that kind of stuff actually gets on a show or a movie, and it's actually going to be greenlit by whatever, and that person's like, hey, like I actually know a person that would be great for this role, and then boom, that's how you get it. Because again, that's how actually happened. That actually, funny enough, happened to Johnny Depp. That's how he got his starting career. That's how he got his career.
Oh, that's how we got Jump Street, right?
Yep. So
I did hear that.
Johnny Depp, his first ever acting role was A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984.
With that fucking cutoff T-shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
And you know how he got that?
Because the girl found him attractive.
Yes.
I heard about that. Yeah.
He was actually, funny enough, before that movie, 1978, he was on the cleanup crew, or just like the set crew of Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween.
Oh shit!
So when he was a part of the crew originally for Nightmare on Elm Street, and someone, I think it was Wes Craven's daughter, or it was somebody's daughter, higher executive, was like, Dad or whoever, you got to cast this guy. He worked on John Carpenter's Halloween set, but he's actually really attractive. I think you should give him a part. He wrote the part of Nancy's boyfriend for Johnny Depp, and he had him try out.
It just blew up after.
And then that was his first acting career. But then again, it takes somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
It's all about who you know.
That's crazy too. Same thing with, what's her name? Tori Spelling. She went under an alias because her father, Aaron Spelling, he created Charmed, 90210. Oh my God, Melrose Place. He was in charge of. He was like one of the biggest names in the network TV industry back in the 80s and 90s. So Aaron Spelling, he had a daughter, Tori Spelling. She went under an alias because she didn't want to be outed. To be, my dad's a famous, you're gonna have to cast me. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is not a Cage. He is a Coppola.
Same thing with Jamie Lee Curtis. I can go on and on, but Jamie Lee Curtis too. She got the role of Halloween because her parents in the acting movie world, they were both very known actors. She changed her name, so she didn't get picked. She didn't get picked based upon just because it's it's her parents. She wanted to be her own person. Yes.
Emilio Estevez.
It's so funny. You were the one that told me about that. I had no idea.
That Estevez was their actual name, and it's not Sheen.
It's not Sheen.
Yeah.
I had no idea. They look in the eyes and in the face. They look like they're related, but I never knew that he changed his name to get out of his father and his brother's limelight. That's so crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Actors, man. Yeah, acting industry. It's an interesting web.
Because honestly, you want to make sure that you're being picked for yourself. Just because of like what you bring to the table. You never want to be affiliated. And again, connections are great. But if you start getting roles handed out to you just because you're a name and that you know somebody and your father, your mother's this, that, and the third, it just takes away from what you actually have. Like, are you hiring me because it's me and you would have picked me if you didn't know I was this offspring or whoever? I'm just giving an example. Or are you actually picking me of my talent? Like, what's the behind it? Now you could always say, like Tori Spelling always says now too, I was picked for that role because no one knew I was this. So I know it was me. Yeah. It wasn't because I was Aaron Spelling's daughter. It's just, you look at the big picture, I would, you never want to be in someone's shadow.
You're right, I should change my last name.
But
Affleck.
Nick Affleck. Yeah, but also speaking of acting, I know that you were in talks. This was actually part of the unaired footage that we have, but you were in talks to play the one and only. Let's talk about it.
Is it Ted Bundy?
Yeah, Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, yeah. I haven't heard anything in a while from this thing. I don't know if the production ever picked up on it, too. Nothing that I know of, but I used to work with this one guy based out of, like, Western Jersey. He would always do horror movies and everything. He would self-finance everything. He would do all the props himself. He would get cars. He would do sets himself and everything. It was really, really cool, honestly. And it was almost like a very, nice, independent type feel, so it was cool. And he did like John Wayne Gacy movie and everything, like fan films, and they went to like some small independent film festivals and stuff. So it was really cool for that. And he was just like, I'm thinking about doing something on like Ted Bundy. And I was just like, well, if there's one person who understands the way that Ted Bundy thinks, it's probably me. I was like, I make myself Ted Bundy. That would be totally fine and everything. And we had like a few discussions and dialogues and everything. And this is where like I think I stood out to him to be cast, because he was like, well, I was thinking about this one scene for Ted Bundy, like where he's like dragging this body out and everything, and this one kid sees him and like freaks out and like runs away and stuff. I was just like, do you know what the scene should be?
What would the scene? What would it should be?
So I thought, I was like, my character Ted Bundy should be dragging the girl. I'm not sick, by the way. The
Sure.
Ted Bundy should be dragging the girl and everything. Maybe like put her behind a log or something like that. And then the kid sees this happening. And Ted Bundy was supposed to be like a charismatic charmer. And he was supposed to just put on a front and just be like, oh no, my friend, she fell and everything like that. You know, I'm trying to call the police and everything. Can you help me out?
Wow.
Like stuff like that. Like I tried to
Yeah.
like spin it into the narrative of like his whole persona was that he was so charming and like, you know, charismatic and really, really into the person. And that's why he lured these girls and did all these bad things.
You know, that's actually a really...
be
That
cool.
would be... I can definitely see that because knowing Ted Bundy and like the history on him,
Yeah.
that is more up Ted Bundy's alley versus the first initial take on it.
Yeah.
And I know where the director was probably coming from. He was probably more so looking at it from the perspective of, oh, it's like shock horror. Like you see that, anybody seeing that,
100%.
you're going to run away and get scared.
Yeah.
But it exercises the element of what was so terrifying of Ted Bundy to
Yeah.
begin with.
Remember like the Zac Efron movie, like where he gets pulled over and everything, and he's just like, oh, you know, this is the one aspect I like when he does this. He's like, oh, you know, I'm a law student, and you know, I popped my tire and everything. You know, can you help me out and shit? And they like search his car. There's like duct tape and like lime everywhere. He's like, what the fuck?
Yep.
But he was trying to charm the cop first
Yeah.
into like saying like, hey, I'm normal and shit. But I don't think it's ever been done on screen like that before too. So I thought that would be cool.
That
idea.
would be really, really cool. You know, it's so crazy. They actually had a scene like that in Rob Zombie's Halloween. I think it was it might have been part 2. Yeah, Hobo Michael Myers, yes. Where he was walking after he just like I think killed somebody, and it was a beautiful cinematography shot, and it was a little kid like looking up to Tyler Mane, who played Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie movies, and Tyler Mane's like 6'5", and it's just like the kid's like, and Michael Myers is like looking down and doesn't do anything, and you would think, oh my god, like the kid should run away, and the mom of the kid comes running, and she's just like, oh my god, like what are you doing, like don't talk to strangers, and like Michael's just standing there like looking down, and then like he just like lets them go, and it's just the element of like you don't know what's gonna happen, you know, as the audience. You know, normally you think, oh my god, the kid's gonna get fucking like stomped on or whatever, but like the suspense factor, the shock value factor, like you just said too, like that's pretty much up Ted Bundy's alley. So that's pretty nice.
That's good. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good segue on that too.
Wow,
But yeah, that
that's
was
awesome.
That was cool.
That's awesome. You see anything going on? I have a question for you. Backstage,
What's up?
did you see and did you check backstage during the strike? That's my next question for you.
They were still doing stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, like when I had more downtime, like a couple months before and everything, and I was looking at some stuff to see if I can like apply and everything. Because the majority of the stuff on backstage that I usually see are like pictures for like car commercials or real estate for like luxury apartments and stuff. We need actors just to be on set and just look like they're enjoying in a pool or in their room or something like that, so we can promote our luxury apartments and stuff like that. Like that was the stuff that I saw. All that stuff was still going on.
Wow. So I guess like for commercials and that's really, you get those one-off actors, you know, like you don't really see the same actors in the same commercials.
That's majority of what I did, like the lock commercial and everything
that was pretty cool. Yeah, you had a lock commercial. You also, I believe,
let's see if you remember it. I know what you're gonna say.
No. You had was it the dating thing you did too? Was that part of lock?
I actually did do a dating thing. I did.
You're married to somebody?
It was gonna be the Stacked In. That was the food app, but I did
the food app.
Yeah,
yes,
I did another thing. I think I was like in Astoria, like Queens or something like that, and I was on a set, and it was supposed to be like a masked dating show. So they put you in a mask and you would answer questions. I ever said this?
Was this the one where you almost got? I don't know if it came to fruition, but it was like early on, and it was during COVID, where it was like a COVID dating show, where it was like Zoom.
Yeah,
it was gonna be that, but it was gonna be in person.
Yeah,
in person.
Yeah.
Okay, I got confused. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was cool. You were masked up and everything, and you had to ask questions to the person and everything, and see if it hits off. And then they just filmed it. They said it was going to be for like Snapchat reels, like videos on there too. It's going to be one department of that. It's usually one-off things. They pay you, and then they're like, "All right, see ya."
Yeah, speaking of, I have a buddy who you know him also, and this actually happened the other night. Speaking of commercials, I was watching an ad on YouTube. I had YouTube up, and all of a sudden, I was like kneeling down and getting something, and I look up quickly, and I could have sworn it was our friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way. I'm probably just seeing stuff. I took magnesium. I got, that story. Okay, so I'm like, maybe I'm just seeing things. Then again, it was for a college. It was like, I think it was FDU.
Cool.
Then I was like, for a couple days, it wasn't leaving my head. It was just strict. I just couldn't stop thinking, maybe it was him. So I'm just like, I reached out to him yesterday. And I go, hey, what's going on? But like, not to sound like crazy, but you know me. But did you ever shoot a commercial for the college you went to? Because he went to FDU. And he goes, oh my God, I never knew it came to light. But like, they filmed it a while ago. But was it me hugging like a curly haired girl? I'm like, yes. By the time I looked at it, it was you fading, and it was fading into like the logo shot. So yes, it was him. So I was like, oh my God, it was you.
You asked him if he got paid?
I didn't ask that. No.
I wonder if he got paid.
No, I made a joke, and I was like, you better get royalties for that. With all that's going on, you could vouch for that.
Oh, I forgot about this one too. I did the training videos for Columbia Bank. So
right.
If you get hired at Columbia Bank, I'm part of the training videos.
I'm gonna find it on YouTube.
Go for it.
And we're gonna post a little snapshot here, because I would love to see that.
I pretended to be like a bank teller, and then I gave like a girl a lollipop. Awful lot of context. I know. I said, I don't know about this shot, guys.
What about the one where you went to the beach in Long Island?
That was
LBI.
The Stacked In commercial.
Oh, Stacked In.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I had
You were crawling in the sand, and it looked like you were in like the Mojave Desert.
Yes, yeah. I had to crawl in the sand. And
in a suit. You were in a black suit.
Yep. And then it's like in my mind, and then I wake up, and then I'm in this restaurant, and it's just because I'm hungry and dehydrated.
Yep.
And then it's like it's almost like a DoorDash app. It's called Stacked In. This is all Korean based, by the way.
Oh wow.
I think they look at me and they're just like, we want them, like them. It was all like a Korean crew and everything like that. Very nice. They gave us all food, and it was like fucking like $400 for the shoot and everything.
Wow.
It was nice.
It's good money.
It covered the parking ticket I fucking got in New York.
That's right.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Every sign there doesn't make any damn sense.
Listen, man, you're speaking to the wrong guy. It could be clear as day in front of me, and I have to sit there and figure out, like, is this really what I want to do?
You know what I hate?
right
when
now?
it says no standing, and then you don't know which ways the lines go? You ever seen in the city?
Yeah,
it
I've
says like
seen
no
that.
standing?
Yeah, okay.
Fuck, that's exactly what happened to me. They're like, you're in a loading dock, and they gave me a $90 ticket. I was like, there's no loading dock.
Did you have to go to court for that?
Just pay.
Just pay it. And
Just
go.
pay it. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Listen, it's been fun. We've been going out this world. I think it was almost 2 hours now. It's crazy.
This is what comfortable seating does. For
I fucking
people.
love this.
This
You know
is
what,
awesome.
guys? Would you listen to a 5-hour podcast? We should have this again. This is actually really good if we bring on people.
Yes.
We have a chair. We have their own mic. We get another one of these. A couple of spares.
Yeah,
to
that'd
have,
be cool.
And we can set their own up, and we can just have a nice organic conversation like that.
That'd be awesome.
I think this would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Honestly. But yeah, listen, stay tuned.